Hudson Plick. I want to thank you all for joining us here on the National Sports Radio Station on Spreaker.com. 28-24 as Tony joins the booth here for the postgame show. You're not? Okay, forget you. All right, 28-24, but Dan, it really was about as ugly as anyone this season.
It was as ugly as any of them could get, and it's exactly what we expected. RCC was RCC, strong defensively, causing 5 turnovers, but again, the penalties were still present.
That's right.
So, hey, to get away with this one, hey, it's just a feel-good story tonight.
It really is. This story, it's a magical ride for Riverside. It continues. They were the number 1 team in the state of California coming into the year, but off of a loss to Grossmont and a disheartening win in double overtime to Saddleback, they were looked on as a team that was really not even looked down on as a playoff team.
Right.
Now, after 4 consecutive victories, none bigger than this one here at home against Mount SAC, they are now in a win and go in next week. Your thoughts with I know it's a very feel-good story for Riverside right now, but that offense, that really did not perform that well.
It didn't. I mean, you got to give credit to the Mounties. They held Nicholas King in check. It took Denzel Foster to bail him out, just like how he has all season long, a type of guy who's going to get you over 100 yards per game. Here, probably did. We'll bring you stats and
what's going on. Moments.
Exactly.
What's going to be funny is that our rival, Christopher Sylvester, I'm sure will bring us stats.
And as he should,
the exact numbers of their loss. But anyways, to that defense, I have not seen a more potent defensive group. Mount SAC averaged 40 points per game, and that offense flat out did not play well at all. Yet the defense had the pick 6 that kept it close, and then talk about 5 turnovers, 2 of them by Trayshawn Watson in the last to win the game.
Yeah, you meant Trayshawn Broughton. Trayshawn Broughton's a type of guy who is your typical shutdown cornerback, a guy who could play with your best wide receiver. And right here tonight, he showed why he's probably, in my opinion, the number 1 cornerback in the state of California.
He's going to continue his football next year at Oregon State University.
Wow, that's big time.
And moving forward, Dan, we play Long Beach College next week in a win and you're in. Now, this victory is just about as close as it gets to you making the playoffs right now. I mean, you really have to collapse to not make the playoffs by this point. But your thoughts about next week as we play yet another dominant offense, this time on the road, a place where we have struggled this season.
Yeah, and that's the main thing I was going to say. RCC has not been good at all on the road, always struggling, even against a L.A. Harbor team last week who only has 1 victory in, 12 games?
No, in 17 games.
In 17 games. So hey, even then, we struggled there. So it'll probably be up to date, the biggest matchup of the year, I would say, after this one, of course.
It was a pleasure. 60 minutes of back-and-forth football. I mean, turnovers, big plays, but the number 1 impact of this game and what really dismantled one of the top offenses in the state of California was the hard hits. We saw a lot of them tonight. Oh,
boy. We tallied about 8 to 10 tonight. And this is the thing about this defense. Despite their woes early on, they never let up. This is the team that understands that they've got a linebacking core like no other in the country. Everyone has a Division I offer. I mean, the shutdown corner of Trayshawn Broughton is one guy who's always going to keep you in a game no matter what.
Tom Kraft, coach of the Tigers, earns his 45th victory of the last 5 years. He's the winningest coach in junior college so far in the decade. Meanwhile, Bob Jastrab, who was en route to 100 victories, it'll have to wait another week. Mount SAC falls 28-24. I want to thank you all for joining us here at Wheelock Stadium, along with Dan Gadino and the entire broadcast crew. I'm your host, Nick Rice. Again, a 28-24 victory as Riverside wins 4 straight games and now faces Long Beach City College a week from tonight. So long, everybody. We'll see you next week down there in Long Beach, California.